magic missile in there if you want. It doesn't have to be.
I was
Okay.
gonna do a level 3 magic missile and um a level 2 snowball swarm.
Okay.
Or
So you'll
is it
have
ice?
those.
Ice slick actually.
Yeah. The one
Oh.
that's sort of there's one that's just pure damage, and then there's one that's sort of a slippery crowd control as well as a little bit
Yeah, that's
less
what I
damage.
wanted.
Yeah.
The crowd control
Yep.
and
Okay.
okay.
Okay. Yeah. So you definitely have the spell slots to do that.
Ice slick actually.
Yep. Okay. So everybody's back up to full health, and if you had any hit dice, if you had more than half your hit dice missing, then I'd be surprised. But I think everybody's back up to completely full.
Cool, cool.
Cool. Cool. All right.
Where'd my page go?
And I think I'm just going to open, just in case I need it, the digital player's handbook. Okie dokie. So everybody ready?
Indeed.
Think so.
Okay. So you guys, after your night of swapping stories with Sildar and some cheery good times, drinking and food, you wake up in the small hamlet of Greenbrook, and you've got, Sildar says, about a half day's worth of travel to get to the monastery, so you should be getting there by noon or a little bit later.
All right.
All right, so you guys start heading on out?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you take a dirt path that goes sort of northeast out of Greenbrook towards the distant mountains, and along the way you pass several farms and sort of this rural community, and as you go further into your day, the countryside gets a bit more hilly and less populated. The road continues to a gentle... Yeah, so I'll move this over here so I can be looking more towards you guys, less over there. It continues sort of a gentle climb as you make your way towards the base of the mountains. As Sildar has said, that's where you're headed. That's where the monastery is residing. All right. And about midday, you turn a corner amongst the trees and see ahead a wall built of hewn stones, rough-hewn stones across the road. And it extends about 15 feet up and in both directions. And where the wall meets the road, there's a closed gate. And seated at an overlook above the gate are two figures in brown robes. And as they see you sort of turning the corner and they can hear you coming out of the path, one of them says, "Hello there. What brings you here?" And Sildar speaks up and he says, "We've come to see the abbot. He sent us a message to come see the June flowers he has been growing." And Sildar would have shared with you that that there had been a particular past phrase meant to say that that June flower was essentially the code word.
I thought we were here to see his garden.
No.
Oh man.
So,
I really
so
wanted to see a cool garden.
Oh well, you're in luck. All right, two figures nod, and one of them, they both sort of descend, and after a moment, you see the door opening. One is there, and the other is running up the path to go and form back up the monastery. You guys sort of enter in through that gate there, and you see a road stretching about half a mile up through a cleared green lawn, and sort of this cleared area extending in both directions behind the wall. And you can see in the distance, nestled at the base of the rocky mountain range, is a large building complex with red tile roofs covered in a variety of stout towers. And in the distance, you see the... Oh, wait, get rid of these guys.
Whoa.
Oh,
There's
those
some
people you'll meet
dudes.
eventually. Yes.
He's shooting out some
what I get for...
magic.
This is
I
what I
want
get
to learn
for...
that spell.
This is what I get for not reviewing every single map before starting the session. Those are friends you'll meet in not too long.
I'm already jealous.
Yeah. And, I need Andriel to be here. All right.
Yeah, this is his
Yeah, this is...
story, isn't it?
He's,
missing out on this
our-
whole storyline.
Well, it's not his storyline. He happens to be a monk of a different order, and he has particular thoughts about this order, so we'll see how that goes. All right.
Okay.
I wonder if he
Arataru's-
thinks these guys are noobs.
Yeah.
When I first talked about them, he called them bookworms, and sort of derisively. So We'll see. And so that there's this long, big green area, and scattered around among the grounds up ahead in the distance are many smaller individual buildings, as well as on the lawn. There's a small few buildings that are nestled around a bunch of different fields. And as you walk along, making your way, and you can still see the one monk running, certain. It seems like he's been in a dead sprint the whole time and not slowing. You see, and the other monk is leading you. On your left are fields that are pretty typical farming fields, filled with crops, grains, vegetables, corn, and in those fields on the left are just a handful of robed monks tending to the crops. On the right, there are also a bunch of fields, but they're very different. No two fields are alike. Each one appears to be growing something absolutely different from the others. Some are growing crops, others flowering flowers, some herbs, and you see a couple of what appear to be tree groves. And what you notice about each of these fields is that they are attended each by a single monk with scrolls of parchment that they seem to be writing on as they go about observing the different fields. And the ones on the right side that are all different from each other, even amongst those fields of a single thing, that it's split into different sections, and the sections vary. Some of them might have different types of plants, or that might be all the same types of plants, but in different arrangements as far as how they're planted. They're spaced apart regularly in mounds or in clumps, or if some of the different fields have different types of soils, and they're all cordoned off and marked which section is which, and or different levels of irrigation. It just seems to be all sorts of different mishmash of different varieties of planting in these same fields here on the right side. All right. And so as you're just sort of, it's about a half-mile walk, so it takes you a few minutes to actually get towards the complex there. You guys have any questions or anything?
That was some great improv on my desire for seeing the gardens.
Yeah. That there indeed are quite a few different gardens leading up to the main complex.
But where are the June flowers?
The monk leading you guy, whose name is Jinro. He says, I'm not sure which among these might be the June flowers, but I was told that the abbot is very interested in anyone seeking to see the June flowers.
Love June flowers.
He sort of smirks and nods. Yes. Okay, and so you guys are sort of led up, and there's this little path that sort of winds up towards the top of the complex, and there's an entryway into there. And at the door, that there's a monk sort of, he consults with another one. He says, yes, he mentions the other one who had ran ahead. He came through and gave us the message that the Abbot Asheris is out on the mountain path right now. Someone's been sent to fetch him. But in the meantime, Master Rylar is in the proving chamber. Perhaps you should take our guests to him. And Jinro sort
What
of
has he
nods
got
and
to prove?
he says, he is Grandmaster Rylar is or how does he put this? He's like, others are trying to prove their might to see if it matches his. Let us put it that way.
Like an arm wrestling competition.
Yes, not quite as rough and tumble, but a little more refined. But
okay,
yes.
Okay,
yes.
book wrestling. I got it.
Jinro says, yes, we do have a reputation here that the Obari Order, the commoners sort of call us warrior scholars, and sometimes more emphasis on the scholar, but I assure you that we are all quite capable here.
I'm sure you are.
All right, and so inside it's filled with a finely crafted woodwork and polished floors, and it's just gorgeous in here. And again, there's people. Hadouken! And you see that that the architecture is gorgeous and everything's sort of finely done. It's not as ostentatious as sort of this image that I found, but it's sort of simple but elegant in its construction. So there's not a lot of bling, but it is finely crafted. All right, and that Jinro sort of leads you through, a hallway. You sort of see into some of the rooms, and then he leads you upstairs, and you can glance in here and there. And as you pass through, the rooms are as varied as the fields that were on the right side of the pathway. That there's a room full of vials and beakers and glassworks and all these colored liquids and little fires burning under them and all sorts of stuff. And there's monks, working on things in there. And then there's a room that's full of a variety of different looms with cloths in varying degrees of completion. And then it seems like the next room there's a small forge and there's people working on some blacksmithing in there. Then several rooms are filled just floor to ceiling with shelves of books, and there's several rooms like that. There's some rooms that got a variety of potted plants, some with small animals in cages and birds, and just all sorts of variety of different sort of studies that are being done. And then there's some sections that appear just to be living quarters, pretty simple. Again, it's finely crafted, but there's not much ostentation in how it's presented.
Do they have any type of area to purchase some of these
they have a
materials
gift
that you
shop?
see all over the place?
Jinro says, "No, we do not have a shop. That among the Obari, it is seen as a worthy practice to try and be as self-sustaining as possible. So we try and grow all of our own food, create all of our own supplies. Among the various things that you've seen here, that is Obari, that we're dedicated to the discipline of both body and mind, and that let me go to my notes about the Obari order. We strive to expand the limits of mankind's knowledge through research, through study of ancient texts, through many of the experiments that you see here. And then we also seek to grow mankind's mastery of the material world, whether that is through study and experimentation, but as well as disciplining our bodies and our minds as well. So that's physical prowess and exercise and discipline is part of our regimen of study here. We find it's a good way to clear the mind, as well as a strong body fuels a healthy mind.
That doesn't help me any.
Says, I'm sure that all of you are practiced in your own ways to be able to take care of yourselves. And so, after leading you through a few hallways and up a few floors, that as you're going down the hallway, you can hear ahead of you, echoing from a large chamber, grunts of exertion and scuffling feet, and you can sort of tell that there's several people in there, and they're being very physical, and it seems like we're a different context. You would expect to find some sort of fight going on in there, some sort of whatever going on. And so
Whatever.
you actually enter the room, and you see it lined around the edges with columns, and in the center of the room, recessed into the floor, is a large circle that's about 2 feet down. And inside of that circle, there's about a half dozen monks sparring. And it is not, one-on-one 3 times. It is 5 against 1 in the middle. And there are 5 around the outside surrounding a single individual in the middle who's fending all of them off. And you see this human clad in blue cloth, and he has this long goatee that you're not quite sure how long it is in comparison to his body, because as he's moving around, it's just whipping around these different directions. And his head is completely shaven. And covering his head and arms are blue tattoos of lightning bolts, all up and down his arms and on his head. And you'd figure if he had shorts on, or if he was bare chested, that they'd be there as well. And
you, Aang?
he fends off an attack, and then with a flurry of motion, as another comes at him, then the others, all 5, gather themselves and rush at him all at once. And he takes his fists and slams them together, and there is a massive boom that echoes through the entire room and down the chamber and sort of blows back your hair, and all 5 of the attacking monks are blasted backwards and fall on their backs. And
Doesn't
the-
seem fair.
the blue monk sort of closes his eyes, takes a deep breath. Enough. Well done. And he bows, individually to the other 5 as they sort of get up and stand and return the bow to him. And then Jinro sort of has paused a moment for them to be finished. He says, Master Rylar, we have guests. The abbot invited them. And that Rylar, the monk in blue, which I can now, add on to here so you can see, because he had been on here earlier. Rylar, where are you?
I didn't notice.
What are you talking about?
Oh.
Man, look at him in that room without much bling and such fine craftsmanship.
Yes.
I can see how long his goatee is now.
Yeah, he was braided and whipping around before as he was
There you
fending
go.
people off. And
When's he
Rylar
gonna take
turns.
off his shirt so we can see his lightning bolts?
Yes.
Take it off.
Rylar turns and says, "And what was the invitation for?" He turns to the group, and Sildar says, "June flowers." And Rylar says, "I see." And he nods and dismisses. Jinro, thank you for your service, that I can handle it from here. And he sort of turns to the others and says, "You were dismissed." And they all sort of file out after giving him a short bow, and sort of they all sort of curiously look at you as they pass out. Not pass out, but pass out. Of the room. they just
Pass
look
out.
at you and go, "Woof, woof." He's like, "Yes, we all suffer from narcolepsy here."
That feels good.
So after you guys are alone in the room, he says, "I am Rylar, Grandmaster of the Obari that reside here. I am glad that you have arrived to address the matter of our June flowers." And so he approaches and sticks a hand out and says, "You must be Sildar, a knight of Averin. And the High Arcanist mentioned you by name in his message to the abbot." And Sildar sort of, for the first time, you seem like Sildar sort of stands a little more proud being addressed as such, and to hear that the High Arcanist had spoken of him. He says, "Well met, Rylar. Glad we can be of service." And Rylar sort of turns and says, "And what shall I call the rest of you?"
I go by Cathod.
Cathod, well met. It seems that the 2 of you are of a kind. And he sort of nods to Bonar and Thonar.
Bonner at your service.
Bonner, his brother, 13 seconds behind.
He says, "Well met." And Master Elf?
I'm Elrine from across the sea.
All right, I'm glad to meet you. And he turns, "I wish Andriel was here to roleplay this out, but I will play the part of
I say
play
to Elrine,
Salazar.
is there Elrine from this side of the sea that was in your class growing up?
And then Rylar says, "And you, fellow sir." And Salazar says, "My name is Salazar." He says, "Well met. And my friend, I can tell you are a long way from Aonlin. What brings you down from the Koyokiri Mountains?" And you see Salazar sort of stiffen, and he says, "My affairs with my order are my own." And Rylar says, Of course, of course. Come with me. I'm sure you are tired from your journey, no? We shall have a meal while we wait for the abbot to return." And so he goes and he picks up a staff that had been leaning up against the wall, and he takes that and sort of, he doesn't seem to be using it for walking, but it sort of appears to be like something he carries with him and is a sign of both authority as well as comforting to him in his hand. And he leads you guys down, a flight of stairs or two to a dining chamber, and he speaks to a couple of the monks and asks them to bring a meal for you guys. And then all get sort of situated around the table, uh, and yeah, he says, I'm glad to welcome you here. That whatever resources we have are at your disposal. That when the abbot arrives, I'm sure we can talk about our particular uh, June flower issue in more detail. But for the time being, do you have any questions for us? That while we welcome visitors, we do not get them very often here.
I have a question.
Yes, Master Thanar.
How do you have June flowers when it is May?
Yes.
I slap him on the back of the head and I say, "Well, obviously it's the April showers, you fool."
Rylar says, yes, of course, that anyone who's a skilled botanist knows that there is no commonly named flower that goes by the name of June flower, but we needed a way to distinguish between anybody who might be coming with ill intent from others. So that was the phrase, and Sildar nods. Yes, that was the phrase that the High Arcanist had set up to make the connection between us and the Obari. That I hate to break it to you, Elfbane brothers, but there are no June flowers here.
I get up and I walk out of the room. And then I come back, I say, I don't really care about flowers.
Rylar says
Likewise.
something. Yes, the short tempers of dwarves. Hardy folk, but you do enjoy your
Give him
Or,
I give him
banter.
a stank eye and say, "Is that a short joke?"
no. Far and away, no. That we actually have many dwarves who are adherents to our order here. And actually, if you think about it, that probably the majority of the monks that you've passed have been human, but there are monks of all races and size and types.
Cool.
So, Rylar says, no, that we are welcome to anybody who wishes to dedicate themselves to, as I'm sure Jinro had mentioned, dedication to discipline of both the mind and body. That
He sure
often,
did.
more often than not, we get scholars who are seeking to also harden their bodies, but occasionally, yep, honey, bottle, okay. Occasionally, we do get warriors who are seeking to expand their minds. So I will be right back.
All right.
So would I.
Me too.
Guess I'll go get some more water while
Yes,
we're all
yes,
breaking.
same. Yeah.
Good
Alright,
plan.
break.
Baby needed a bottle.
dwarf brothers down.
Mm-hmm. Do good old Rylar.
Is that so? That's the guy's name, Rylar.
Rilar, yes.
Rilar.
That's this blue monk.
The guy that's Hadoukening.
Yes, the one with the lightning bolts.
Rilar. That's the
Yeah.
monk so far. He stands alone and he fights the guys.
He fights real hard.
Yeah, there you go.
But why is he always kneeling?
He's also humble.
Maybe he's just like NPH.
Neil Patrick Harris.
Yeah, he's Neil Rylar Monk.
Alright. So, yeah, that Rylar was sort of saying how often it's the scholars that seek also to extend their studies and discipline their bodies, but occasionally they do get warriors who are seeking to expand their minds. That is mostly the aspect of training that I do amongst the monks here. That I am the Grand Master of Arms of this monastery, responsible for both training our adherents and, its defense, though given where we're situated, it's mostly fending off wild creatures and the occasional wandering bit of goblins, but nothing serious.
And June flowers.
Yes, and as yes, our particular June flower that that hopefully you will be dealing with and taking off our hands, and as that though I'm curious that amongst the many things that we do here, do you have any questions of research, or are you seeking any knowledge that we might be able to provide here?
Well, seeing as you are both knowledgeable of the body and mind, what do you do when when your mind is telling you no, but your body is telling you yes?
That there are the philosophical disagreements within the order, but the vast majority believe that the body serves the mind, and the mind is the master over the body. So, dear dwarf, if you are faced with that conundrum, most of us would suggest that you trust your mind.
All right. It sucks for me. I got a -1 to intelligence.
Perhaps some time and study here could help you with that.
I've been around him
True,
long enough
true.
to know he won't.
I asked him what the deal is with the fields on the right as we were coming in, if they're doing experiments or what they're doing there.
Oh yes, precisely that. Very perceptive. That the fields on the one side are purely for sustaining us and taking care of both our food and material needs. That we spin cloth from some of the plants that we grow out there, and then on the other side that is dedicated to experiments to find how different plants grow and flourish, and perhaps how they pass on traits to other generations. And so that is the different studies of the various monks that I'm sure you saw attending their particular fields. That those are the research projects of those individuals.
Interesting.
Yes.
Do you happen
So,
to? Oh,
Go
go
for
ahead.
it. Uh,
Go ahead.
okay. Do all of your plants grow naturally, or do you use any sort of magic or influence on them in order to sustain them or experiment on them?
We do have a few arcane practitioners, as well as a few devout magic users. So there are some experiments to see how better to grow plants with those means, but I would say by and far the majority are natural experiments that as part of our focus, that we seek to. Yes. That seek to expand the limits of mankind's knowledge, as well as we seek to grow man's mastery of the material world. And so, by and far, the majority of the experiments we do are do not make use of magic in the experiment. Perhaps in some of the analysis and observation, magic is used, but that we seek to unravel the secrets of the material world. So it's not often that the magical arts are used in the experiments, other than to observe them better, to observe the natural phenomenon better.
We recently ran into a group of druids in the swampland. I know that you said that you study the connection between mind, body, and the world. Do you ever study that sort of thing? They seem to be able to do things through their bodies that influence the world around them. Do you have any studies on that?
Oh yes, we have very vast archives that while we may not be able to procure many things, that we are able to copy and then bring that information here, as well as the scholars here also write down their own research, and many have dedicated themselves, and their pursuit of knowledge is through research and through study of ancient tomes and such. That while that when I say that the majority of our experiments do not practice magic, that I do not mean to say that we do not have many magic users here, that many of our scholars are capable of weaving both divine or arcane magic. So that there are those who study that very thing, the connection between the mind, spirit, and the material world. Different people are blinking black and on.
Yeah, the whole screen went white for whatever reason.
Huh.
Yeah, I refreshed.
Yeah,
It's
no,
back.
looks like
Yeah,
it's good.
same for me.
Everybody
actually.
good now?
Yeah.
But now
Sorry, I was distracted when you were saying that.
Elrond and Thana are black, so
Actually,
Yeah.
Elrine and Cathod are
Yeah.
black for me.
I
You'll
only
have
see
to-
Jacob now.
I
you'll have
can
to
see everybody
adjust
just
your
fine
character
at the moment.
profile.
I'll just give it some time, maybe.
I'm only missing Daniel.
Yeah, now I'm just missing Daniel.
Oh, Daniel
Now I'm
just
missing.
blinked out
Now
for
I'm
me.
missing everyone.
Nose.
Try there's the reconnect button on the settings tab.
That's what I was doing, and that's what made me go black to people.
Oh, Greg just went black.
I just went.
yeah.
Everyone else just went black. Oh.
Oh, I got Daniel back, but I
I
still
need to
lost
see
stop
Greg.
Oh,
I need to
Greg's back for
stop
me now.
doing this.
Oh, Cathod's gone.
Okay.
there's Bonar.
Oh, roll 20, get your stuff together.
That's so weird.
I gotta watch Emma.
We just lost Elrond completely.
Take care of your various technical issues. I shall return.
This is the coolest screwdriver ever.
The automatic or ratcheting one or something.
It doesn't ratchet. It's got this. It's like a.
Oh, has it got the bits and stuff?
Yeah,
in
it's
it?
got the bits in there. And so you spin it and then
It
so-
loads.
yeah. So
That's pretty sweet.
you pop it out and you spin
Where'd you get
it.
that from?
I don't remember. I think it was a gift.
That was pretty cool.
But yeah, it's like a revolver.
Ah, what the heck? It won't let, I can't load any web pages right now either. I don't know what's going on.
Do you have internet?
I mean, I'm still talking to you guys.
Yeah, but I mean, do you have internet?
Yes.
Okay.
My mind's telling me no.
But my body.
But my body's telling me yes. Baby, I don't wanna hurt
Wait, there's more to
nobody,
this song?
but there is something that
I thought that was the whole thing.
I don't know. There's more, apparently.
I don't
But
believe
wait,
it.
But my
There's more.
body, my body. Is Daniel reconnecting or?
I'm trying.
Nah, he's
Won't-
giving up.
For some reason, like,
Just
quit.
TeamSpeak works fine. Oh, there we go. I just get like
Yes.
DNS server errors when I try to load stuff. Now it's loading, but it's loading real slow.
Hmm.
You guys noticed I updated my name to accommodate all our problems.
Lacathod. But my body.
You should have just left. You should have made the K in Cathod the K in black.
Blackthod.
Black Thought.
Want to talk? Here. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hello. You want to play D&D? When you get older, rather than just telling you stories, you can live stories, and Daddy will let you do that. Yeah, it'll be
Yay,
fun.
Daddy!
Yeah. You'll
Aw.
get used to rolling ones.
Yeah,
Prepare you for
unfortunate.
prepare you for real life.
Oh goodness, yeah. Mm-hmm.
There's always a chance that you will succeed, but there's always a chance that you will
Oh.
fail.
Yes, that's true. But in life, you don't get to re-roll a new character.
That is the truest thing ever.
Right.
Mhm.
I've had my next character ready for like since week 2.
Just in case.
I'm like, I'm gonna die that first
I
time
ha-
we walked in there, and it's like, okay, you took how much damage? Oh, that's like double my life total. I'm like, I'm not long for this world.
Mm, yeah, but we'll see where things go. As I said, I'm excited to get things out of the boondocks and into the real juice of things.
Out of the frying pan.
Looking
yes.
forward to it.
Mm-hmm. Out of the frying pan and into the blast forge. Oh, and that's the microphone.
We've had some interesting strategies though. Like our dwarf flying into the middle of like 20 people, and then me launching a massive fireball
Yes.
directly
Oh
at
yeah,
him.
that was fun.
That was an interesting strategy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
I
Oh,
was-
I see
I
you.
see 2 people now.
I see
Mhm.
you.
I'm afraid to press reconnect again.
yeah. Any further word from Andriel?
I have not.
Nope.
Mm. Because there's a particular part that, from an RP perspective, would be very good to have him around. So, but there's plenty to do until we get to that point. So, I guess I can sort of. Oh yeah, you're pressing buttons now. Perhaps not. That's not the best, but we'll make sure it doesn't
Control Alt
destroy too much.
Alt
Alt F4.
F4.
Yes.
I just need to get a spare keyboard.
Right click uninstall.
Yes.
Yeah, like,
Delete system 32.
yeah, get a decoy keyboard like people use for their cats.
Nice. Excellent. Yeah, pressing buttons there. You haven't messed up anything so far, so that's good.
I'm pressing
So-
reconnect.
She deletes
Bye.
the game.
If I disappear forever.
Yeah, all your.
Oh, yep. See ya.
Arena Bonner appeared.
Maybe if I just keep pressing it.
Yeah. You wanna wear the headphones? Here, Emma.
How do you
But my body.
Body.
Yeah. Is that fun?
To me,
So,
yeah.
do you guys have any questions for Rylar? As I can casually just still talk.
Pause. I was gonna ask how open they are with their information. Like, can anyone just come in and read it? Do they
Yeah, I mean
have to
that.
be in order or part of their whatever?
No, that if you wanted to stay here and do your research, of course you'd have to adhere to the order. But that they seek to expand the knowledge of humanity, and if you had a desire to seek some knowledge here, they'd gladly share.
I might have,
I'm
might
going
have
to
to follow
say,
up on that.
you
Yeah,
might not
he's-
have noticed, but he's an elf, not a human.
Mankind, not humankind, mankind. That covers all range of humanoids.
What about me?
Humanoid.
Yes, you also are a humanoid, good sir.
Okay.
You fall into the oid category.
Oid. Oid. Do
Yeah.
you guys study any magical arts here?
Yes, there are many magic practitioners here. Some people that their research, their pursuit of knowledge is into researching the arcane arts and its connections to things. So
That'd be
Uh,
interesting.
if you were interested, there would be there's as I'm sure you saw coming in, several different archives and libraries that a variety of subjects.
I'd be interested in checking that out.
How long have you been a part of this order?
Myself, I've been here 27 years.
A good number of years.
Yes, that.
So did you
Okay.
have hair when you got here?
Yes, indeed. I was a young teenager when I sort of decided that my family's pursuits were not worthwhile in questionable pursuits in Waterdeep, and was able to
I don't know about
to
that.
find refuge here. He's like, yes, there. Waterdeep is truly an interesting place. That there are some who pursue a bit more dangerous things than others who sort of merely bend the rules rather than subverting them completely. But
Dwarfs.
I had no wish to pursue my family's business, and I wanted to escape from there and found my way here. But I found much peace and serenity in nature and studying the skies and the weather. But as you can very much tell here, I've been marked with a sign of that study. And he sort of gestures to, his arms and his head, that I've been bestowed the honor of Master of Storms. And that I'm not sure how much among your order such marks are known. And he sort of turns to Salazar. But these are not bestowed lightly, nor are they easy to achieve. But these are what are known as the marks of the Master. And
Now, how did those get on you?
that's a combination of arcane and divine. Oh, arcane and yeah. Emma doesn't like the thought of magical tattoos, of both arcane and divine magics. That that when one is given the marks of master, there can only ever be one master of a given field at any given time in the world. I am the one who possesses the marks of the Master of the Storm. That there are essentially that I've proven my study in that, and that there was not currently one possessing that title, and therefore the I guess so-called force and energy out there was available to be imbued.
I see.
Yeah.
Is there
Yeah.
one for fire?
So I was gonna. Are there other titles out there like that? I
There
never heard
are.
of
There's
anything like that.
that to keep in mind that while the Master of Storms is an elemental attunement, that there are many different fields. I am sure there is one for fire out there. That there are also those who are less reputable, such as the Master of Ravens and Locusts. those deal with, shall we say,
User disconnected from your channel.
Shall we say what?
So we say.
Well,
Oh,
it was a good campaign, guys.
Yeah.
GG.
Emma
Yeah.
just said nope.
The final
Time to quit.
boss.
Yeah.
Final boss. Raid boss.
The deleter, baby.
I don't even know how to combat that.
Fresh milk.
I don't think that was balanced by Wizards of the Coast yet.
Yeah.
Too
Oh,
strong.
apparently
Oh.
Emma shut down his computer.
Yeah, just got that.
Funny. That's what Selena left for. She to combat the deleter baby.
Yeah.
An epic quest of a lifetime.
President's Quest.
Yeah.
User joined your channel.
hello, folks. Emma's
Hello.
like, ooh, that's a shiny button that turns off the computer.
Hey, you boot up fast though.
I was gonna say.
Yeah,
You
that,
solid state?
yeah, I gave myself a birthday present of a
Solid
solid
state,
drive.
yeah.
Nice.
Yay.
I would say that's one of the next things I was looking at getting.
Worth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's definitely worth it.
Yeah.
I've been seeing some pretty nice deals for like 500
Yeah.
They're so
and
cheap.
1 terabyte solid drive. Yeah.
Yeah,
Ooh,
that,
a lot
I
cheaper than
got
when I bought
a
mine.
nice Black Friday deal off of somewhere or another.
Nice.
Yeah, I've been running off of
I think you're
128
back on
for
the
two.
wrong mic.
Ah,
It
goodness.
must default to that.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Emma, how you doing? Yep. Alright. So, I don't have to be quiet for you. Oh. You wanna go see other things? Okay, I might have to take a break with her. Sorry, guys, that it's happening
That's
like
fine.
this evening. So,
All good.
No
Yep.
worries.
yep.
Alright. Gives Andriel a chance to get his RP.
The deleter baby strikes again.
Dun dun dun. Alright. So is this part of this is just part of the
User was moved
Stildar
out of your channel.
storyline, right?
Yeah, we're
Because he was the
on,
one that was given the the mission. to
I
go
wasn't
do the
sure if
thing.
it was just had something to do with Salazar as well.
No,
He's just a monk.
A monk.
Oh, okay.
So this is like the rival monastery.
He's just a bill.
Not
Ah.
really, but they're just yeah. So you know,
Rival-ish.
he's a monk, they're monks. Yeah.
Everybody's
you know,
monks.
They just everybody wants to.
Could it be any more
Yeah.
obvious?
They all look the same to me.
They do kind of look similar. Those bald. I mean, one's red and one's blue, but really.
Oh man.
User joined your channel.
Here, I'll try and change the microphone.
Probably if you just set your default communication one in recording devices or whatever, that'd probably fix it. Must just be set to default to your webcam.
Apparently it's got defaults, at least on TeamSpeak too. The correct one.
Check like right click your speaker icon in the tray. Go to recording
Mhm.
devices.
Oh, you can pop out the chat.
Oh yes, okay. Set default microphone high definition
Yeah.
audio device. Okay, excellent. Okay, there we are.
Cause then it'll just make everything pick that.
That should help in the future. Oh, you can pop out the chat. Nice.
And the other,
Wait, can you really? How do you do that?
double click it.
Oh, excellent.
It also works with the jukebox tab.
Ah,
Oh,
That's
that would
neat.
be very, very useful, honestly, because fumbling through the sound can be cumbersome to say the
can
least.
you can't just collapse the whole thing, can you?
What?
Oh, sweet. Okay, nice. That's really nice actually. Now, I can have the whole screen
Oh,
instead
that's
of
cool.
the chat and stuff.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Yep.
I'm gonna leave mine for the recording though.
Yeah.
For dice rolls and stuff.
So yeah, okay. The fact that
Well,
you
I
pulled the
have it popped
jukebox out
out.
is
Now
great.
you can do it wherever you want. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
cool.
nifty
Good find.
guys. You're welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, because now I don't
Yeah.
have to like fumble through. I can actually swap music easier.
Thank
Okay.
the lag for
Yeah.
making me click it too many times.
Nice. So, okay. So anyway, Rylar was talking about marks of a master. And he said, if the marks are currently taken, the only way to receive them is to take them from the master who has them.
Hmm.
Like is like
one
death involved?
perhaps if one had ill intent, but truly one would need to just simply beat them in one-on-one combat. And
Is
then you
it
prove that you are the greater master, and therefore the marks would transfer to you.
is it like an honor system type thing, or is this kind of just happens automatically?
There is a bonded magic to these marks that, while it is bonded to me, I cannot control that transfer. If one were to defeat me in, combat, just simply one-on-one, they would become the master of the storm as well. And
Now,
they
do
would
they
leave
have
me.
to use storm powers in combat, or it's say if they beat you with like a tree trunk and beat you to death with that? What happens then?
Yes. The marks that they do not reflect the methods that were used, only that one was superior. So it is only those who have tapped into their use of their key energy that would be able to bear the marks.
I see.
So it is tied into the unlocking of that energy. So if only Andriel were here, there would be some interesting looks across the table.
Now, are there marks all over your body?
He turns to Thonar and says, "Yes." Moving on. And he sort of smirks and he says, "Leave that to your imagination." No, they're
No.
mostly on my head, arms, back, and legs.
Mostly, but not all.
I'm intentionally vague. It's about this time that entering into the room, you see an elderly elf with snow white hair wearing a worn leather coat. And
It's a biker.
Does he have a mustache? Oh yeah, look, there he goes.
yes, he does. And that Rylar actually stands up and says, "Ah, Master Abbot, I'm glad you could make it. These are," he says, "first of all, this is Sildar of the Lord's Alliance, and these are his compatriots, and they have come to address the issue of the June flower." And Abbot Asherus says, "Oh, well met, all of you." And you sort of exchange names. And he says that I apologize that I was away on the mountain path, that I was enjoying my time outdoors, but glad to greet all of you to our establishment here. That, as I'm sure Rylar has been providing you excellent company, that now I'd like to address the true issue as why you are here. That, as he has said, I'm sure that there are indeed no June flowers, but the High Arcanist in his message that I duplicated somebody. That after we had contacted him about the Sunstone and its awakening, that is the code that was to denote allies.
Oh.
And Sildar says, "If you don't mind, Master Abbot, I'd kind of like to see the artifact myself." And the abbot says, yes, I think that would be a worthwhile conversation to have. especially down in the room where it's held that would be protected. And so he says, "If you would all follow me, please." And so the abbot sort of by this time you guys have had conversation. You've been able to finish your meals and such, and the table has been cleared, so there's not anything that you're leaving behind there. If you'd so desired, Elfbane brothers or others who would have this inclination, you could tuck some away in your pockets.
Wait, took what away?
Fork.
Oh.
I want to take a fork.
Yes.
I've got a spork. I don't need one.
So, and that the abbot brings you guys down back to the base floor, to sort of the back of the monastery into this one room, and that the room is decent size, but all that is in there, completely blank walls, is a single pedestal, and there were a pair of monks that were guarding the door. And that, of course, they saw the abbot and let him pass, and he vouched for you guys. So you're all welcome in, and they shut the door behind you. Sitting in the middle of this room is a pedestal, and sitting on the pedestal is sort of a sort of football-shaped golden stone, and it doesn't so much produce light as any light that you see around it seems just to sparkle off of its golden outside. And the abbot says, "This is not a June flower. This is the sunstone."
Ooh.
What does
And
it do?
Yes. That
Gives enough light to make June flowers.
No way.
not precisely, but perhaps in a way.
Connor is just like transfixed.
It's and even though the light is very steady in the room, it seems to almost be like swirls and twirls of light on the surface, like patterns of gold light playing around on it, and it does sort of like, it looks like it's molten gold, but not at the same time.
So what do you want us to do with this thing?
And the abbot says, yes, that you had the question of what does it do. Right now we probably have need for a history lesson. That
Well, if we're gonna have a lesson, I would like to sit down. Boop in my chair, just like.
both Rylar and Asherus, the abbot, sort of look curiously, but then don't seem too surprised that a group such as yourselves would have various trinkets, because you seem well traveled and you've been assigned to this particular mission, so you must be capable in some way.
I pull out my book and my blue pencil. Get ready to take some notes.
Okay.
Some nice
And
illustrations.
that the abbot actually says to Rylar, perhaps it would be best if all of us were able to be seated. And so Rylar goes out and sort of messages.
I've only got the one.
Rylar sort of says to one of the monks out there, who goes and fetch, and within a couple of minutes that there's some seats for you guys to have. And the abbot says that the question of what this does is connected into why it was forged. That in an age long past, there used to be wells of energy called the arcane wells that fueled the magic throughout the world, and through tapping into them, mankind was able to build an unparalleled civilization, and that magic was as common as water, and it flowed freely. And through making use of those natural magical sources, it brought this world to an incredible age. But it did not last, for in those arcane wells was a connection, a power that was manipulated, and dark forces began to pry their way into this world through the arcane wells. And there were monstrous hordes of foul things that poured through, and there was a great war that was waged against those foul creatures from the abyss. And that it seemed that they would overrun this world as they took well after well of arcane power. And the world, in its desperation, decided, with heated discussion, the only solution would be to seal away the arcane wells and to close them. And when it was proposed, opponents to the idea said that it would send civilization back 1,000 years, and quite frankly, they were right. That even since that long-lost age, we have not reached the pinnacle of civilization that they had. But yes, sealing the wells, it did stem the monstrous hordes, and without their connection, without their own magical fuel source, as well as cut off from reinforcements, they were beaten back and destroyed. But sealing the wells also dampened the expression of magic in the world, and magic became a whole lot tamer. And that sealing act, the sealing away of the world's energy, was known as the Sundrain. It took so much out of this place, almost turned the vibrant colors to gray as far as magic is concerned. And that sealing required locks for many different sources of magic. And this Sunstone is one of those locks. Sealed away in it is the power to hold back the seals that were put on the arcane wells. And it has laid dormant for thousands of years past, being protected amongst different places, and for a long while being most recently given to the Obari Order. And it has been locked away among various other things that we have, but this is truly the most significant artifact in our possession. And about a month ago, it awakened. That as you see it here in its full glory, and he sort of looks at it, and it's captivating. It did not always shine so. It used to be dull, and it retained some of its color, but it was not active like this. And the fact that it has awakened means that its lock is now active, and that there is some power testing the bounds of the seal on the arcane wells, and therefore it must actively fight against that. Now, when this was merely a long-lost piece of history, inactive and growing dusty in our archives, it was perfectly safe here. But now that it is awakened, we fear that greater forces might seek to acquire it, which is why I contacted the High Arcanist, and he sent the message to you, and you are here, and the goal is to transfer the Sunstone from our possession to where it can be protected in Averin. You see, Averin is the only known city, at least among our civilization, to still have an active arcane well, very much diminished from the ancient days, almost barely a whisper of its power coming out. But that little whisper of power is what has made Averin such a advanced and capable city, even though it is much smaller than the nations around it and may not have as many resources. It is that arcane well that powers the city and gives it much influence. And so we believe they would be able to keep the Sunstone safe.
Don't we technically own was that one in the
we're
game?
we're partners, I think.
Partners?
Are you saying this to each other?
I don't know. I was trying to
I'm out of
remember.
character. I was out.
Yeah,
Out of character, you have a share in the profits of Wave Echo Cave once it gets up and running.
but that is one of the wells, right? That's what we determined.
It seems that when he's talking about this, like he waxed a bit more poetic about the history of things, that one of these arcane wells would have been like its influence and the magic that seeped out of it covering many square miles.
Oh,
That Wave Echo Cave seems to be of similar kind, but much smaller. But it would technically be not one of the grand arcane wells, but it technically would be one.
Oh baby.
So is it only the grand ones that there's only one left, or like?
Of yeah, essentially the ones that were the gems of civilization that fueled the golden age. That
Mm.
there yes, there were other little pockets of stuff, but as far as like it's sort of like thinking as natural resources are concerned, this is like the grand wells are like mother loads, and then there may be little dots and
Oh, okay.
bleeps across the map, but not enough to fuel a nation.
I just wasn't sure if it was like,
Mhm.
oh, there's like none of these left that are active. It's like
Uh,
we just used one kind of
well,
little
y-
bit like
well,
a
yes,
week
yes.
ago, but
That is the thing to take note. That Wave Echo Cave is truly unique. That even those small ones, that there's not many known that are active throughout the world. The only sort of publicly known and held one is in Avarin.
Hmm.
And so the fact that Wave Echo Cave is up and running is a significant thing.
Well, that's good for our business.
I don't think I wouldn't. Well, actually, I don't know if I would say anything about it.
Mhm.
But I think I would ask about it. I think Yoram would ask about it. So I'd explain that or I would ask like if that's what he was talking about, and I also explained that little what they call spectator or whatever.
Mhm.
What was that little beholder guy? I'd ask if that's what he's talking about as far as like the thing is trying to get in. If that sounded anything like it.
He sort of says, "Ah, yeah, such creatures. As far as the creatures that invaded this world, no. That the creature you described, a spectator, that they are magical aberrations that magical practitioners can often summon in this world and bind it to this plane and give it a task, but they themselves are not the foul creatures from the abyss that attacked this world. That if you were to describe such creatures to the common folk, they would likely call them demons."
I wonder, is that like part of the war that one wizard or sorcerer was talking about in that like other dimension kind of
Um,
travel to?
are you referring to Balthanaz?
I believe so. Yeah. With the crystal that was in like the castle,
Oh right.
and that's where we're in like another dimension. Like, is he fighting in that war?
That you sort of describe, you sort of relay,
Yeah.
recount the information, and the abbot is just sort of like enraptured by this story. He says, "Yes, I believe it's a little obscure, but the name Balthanaz does come to mind as far as the age in which these things were happening. That he was sort of among those that opposed the sealing away of the arcane wells, and had instead of seeking to outright destroy the monstrous hordes, had sort of retreated from it across the sea, and built his own place to sort of wait out the storm, and had disappeared, and nothing was known of what had happened to him. If what you're saying is true, you found one of the arcane practicers from the Golden Age sealed away for
He
Lord
kind of
knows
went a
how
little
long.
crazy.
Sorry to say
Understandably.
there's not much left of
His
not
mind.
much left of the actual person.
Yes, most any practices that would extend a life that long would likely not leave much of a person, you know, the remnants of much of a person at all. So the fact that it must be thousands of years he stayed alone in there. Whatever he did to sustain himself truly cost his mind his humanity.
Yeah, you could say that. Don't worry, he's out of his misery now, though.
I'm glad that at least he did not return to this world and seek to subdue it with his advanced knowledge, as well as They said that he had a crystal that was powering his tower.
Yeah, that's gone.
That's gone. Yes, that there is also legends of while there were the arcane wells that suffused through a large area, that there were also concentrated pieces of whatever force created the arcane wells, or that were of the same nature, that were suffused into small concentrated crystals that were often, because the arcane wells were immobile, you could not take several square miles well, cubic miles of the world and move it somewhere else. That there were these pieces, shards that were rare, but when found had the same sort of resonated with the same energy and produced magic energy in the way that the wells did. So it seems that Balthanaz secreted away himself a piece of this and sealed himself in his tower, lost to time until that you went there and sent him to rest, honestly.
Interesting.
How complicated are those cantrip scrolls? Like they're cantrips, so do you have to like? is
You
it-
you would need to take the scroll out, and you need essentially like a hand to like activate the energy that's in there. You don't have to incant anything. You don't have to say
Oh.
anything.
Oh, that's
Essentially,
another thing,
there's
too.
stored magic in the cantrip that you can just activate and cast.
That's
So it'd be
another
hard
thing.
to do subtly, probably.
To cast it from the scroll, very difficult. It's possible, but not as it's much easier if you know the cantrip naturally to be able to sort of subtly
Yeah.
cast it.
Which I don't.
So
Oh,
like
I'm good.
like some of these scrolls and stuff that we
Mhm.
have, you in order to cast them, you have to succeed on a concentration
Uh,
check, or how does
a
that work?
spell casting check.
Oh, okay.
So if it's not on your class spell list,
Yeah.
or if it happens to be of a spell level higher than you are currently capable of casting, then you'd have to make a check to cast it.
Okay,
If
but
it's on your
a s-
spell list and of a level that you are usually capable of casting, you can cast it no problem.
Okay. I was just trying to figure out what I use this concentration bottle made from concentrate.
Oh, that's when you cast a spell that has concentration,
Okay.
and that's where you cast a spell and you have to maintain concentration on it. So essentially, you can only have one concentration spell up at a time.
Gotcha.
So if like invisibility is a concentration spell,
Yeah.
and so if you are concentrating on, well, if you cast a spell at all, you drop invisibility. But yeah, though sorcerers are the one class that's able to sort of get around that rule a little bit, because they can cast twinned spell
Yeah.
and take something that's usually concentration on one person and spread it to two people.
Okay. That's cool.
Yep.
Alright. That's
Um,
all.
as he's talking about all that stuff, because I'm still taking those notes, I started like shaking my pen, and I'm like, oh, this thing's not working, and I go digging through my bag to get a different one.
Mhm.
But really, I'm looking for my message cantrip that
Okay.
I'm gonna try to use.
Okay.
Hopefully with an easier time since I have a cover.
Yeah, and you can sort of be reaching into your bag and, grabbing it in there. And essentially, I'll say as long as you personally have visual on the scroll and can put your hand on it, you're able to cast it.
All right.
So it's sort of as long as you can sort of be looking in your bag and have your hand in it and see the scroll open, you can cast it. and so-
scroll in my, I was picturing them as just like pieces of paper.
Yeah, well, it's like an index card
Oh,
or
okay,
something,
yeah.
because it's cantrips.
Yeah, that's what I figured. 'Cause they're
Mhm.
simple. So yeah, I bought 2 message ones. So
Okay.
that's like it's like telepathy kind of, right? Send
Yes.
a message as long as you can see the person.
Yes.
So I'm gonna, and they can message back, right? For free.
I believe yes, they can reply. And so
Okay.
essentially, you can send one message and they can reply. Let's make sure I've got it perfectly correct.
Yeah, is it one or is it just until it ends? You can go back and forth. I don't know. I've never actually used this.
You
so I
point
don't
your
know.
finger towards a creature within
Oh, I
range
have
and
to put my
whisper a
finger?
message. And you can
I
sort of
can do it
just
subtly, right? Just
yeah,
like
absolutely. The target and only the target hears the message and can reply in a whisper that only you can hear. You cast this message through solid objects, and it lasts one round, so about 6 seconds of
seconds.
conversation. I'm just
Oh,
gonna
okay.
double check to make sure that the synopsis on my thing is.
Click, go.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, but I was gonna send a little message to Kathad saying that this guy seems pretty trustworthy, and we don't really know what the deal is with that crystal, or at least we don't. So, we should tell him that we had it, because that's like exactly what he's talking about.
Okay.
And I don't
Yeah.
know if I saw what happened or saw what happened with it, but I just know that you were the one hanging on to it.
All
You have a
right.
weird thing with
I'm-
crystals.
Yeah, I'm gonna be a little bit like skeptical, but it kind of sounds logical, and I'll kind of trust Elryan. He seems to have been trustworthy up to this point, so I'll kind of I'll kind of agree and tell him about the crystal to an extent. Not my portion, but
That we did
the,
find.
yeah, that we did find the crystal.
Yeah.
In the Tower of Balthanaz. Well,
Yeah.
he says, yes, that whatever magics he was probably using the energy of that particular crystal to sustain the demi-plane that he was in. Unfortunately, after his demise, it seems like that the control of that magic dissipated and the demi-plane collapsed. So wherever the crystal might have gone, it's been shunted into a plane somewhere or another.
Okay. So I'm gonna ask him, would it be of any danger outside of that realm?
I mean, any such crystal would be a very powerful magic object that would suffuse energy that, while it would not fuel an army, it would provide an arcane caster additional capabilities beyond what they'd normally be able to do. One that was capable of sustaining that pocket dimension for so long must have had significant power.
All right. Good to know. I guess I'll ask Elryan if there's any other questions.
And Cathod, you actually have the message cantrip as
Yeah, I know
a
I
cantrip
do.
you can
Yeah,
cast.
but
So
he
if you're-
already used it on me, so. We're
essentially-
linked right now, right?
for 6 seconds.
Oh, for
and
6 seconds.
So
Yeah,
it's,
so it's
'cause
like you just got
one
a response
round.
right away.
Okay,
and so-
I'll just use cantrip then.
And so
to-
yeah, now that Elryan has initiated the telepathic conversation, he only has one charge to send, but you can keep using it over and over
yeah,
if you
yeah.
so desire.
I'm just gonna keep using it. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll just ask him like.
So
if
I'll
that was
essentially
good
say,
enough.
as long as you're not occupied doing something else, you can continually keep doing it back to Elryan, and you guys can have as much conversation as you want.
Okay.
Oh boy. Like aim.
Yeah. Pudding?
Yeah.
Pudding? Pudding?
This is the 80s.
Yeah. No, I don't think I would have had anything specific. I just felt bad hiding stuff from him, essentially.
Yeah.
And I wish Andriel were here, because he would have some things to say about those shards.
Oh,
What a
buddy.
noob.
But I can't make that character decision for him. So
Oh.
that if he shows up, well, it's already almost 10, but next time we meet, if he's here as well, we might retcon and let him sort of role play out some of the things he would have said during this time.
That sounds
Okay.
good.
So, and so after sort of being willing to answer questions and explain what's been going on, that Asher says, and we know that Sildar has been trusted by the High Arcanist for this task, and that Sildar trusts you with this task, but we cannot simply go on word alone. That the group of you you will need to prove yourselves worthy of taking the Sunstone. And in tradition of the Obari Order, there will be 2 trials: a trial of might and a trial of the mind. As you've been resting here and we've been having our conversation, I have had several other acolytes preparing both trials. That it should be ready not too long, and if you are ready to prove yourselves, we can proceed there. But if you would like some time to make use of the archives here, or apply the knowledge of any of our adherents, we could provide you some time to rest before going through the trials.
I wouldn't mind having time to
Mhm.
peruse.
Praise.
Peruse.
Yes. Now, Elrond, are you particularly referring to your ongoing research project?
I guess at this point I got a couple things going on I probably want to look at.
Mhm.
Yeah, I probably. Well, I mean, it sounds like they probably wouldn't have much on the undead stuff because it seems pretty like
Are you
focused.
are you gonna?
I mean, I would
They
check.
are essentially trying to expand all realms
Oh, just everything.
of human
Okay,
knowledge.
yeah.
So that there's some stuff that on a practical level can be actively researched and experimented upon at the monastery, but then some other people that their research is delving into the knowledge that has been preserved, and so ancient tomes and
Oh, okay.
other things. So even though there may not be active undead experiments, that there would be people who are applying that knowledge
At
to
least
understand.
like records from past blah blah blah. Okay. How much time? How much time do we have? And how
Well,
much?
let's see.
And is there like a guy who, somebody who would tell me, or do I have to try to find this on myself?
Oh, that if you ask, they could easily, because that's everybody has their own like specialty and their sort of quote unquote job that they are dedicated to, and so asking, okay, who are the resident undead specialists? Immediately they would come name whoever.
Cool.
So let's see, you guys got here about noon. You had lunch. You had a nice little conversation. It's probably like 3 in the afternoon. That the trial will probably start. It's summer, so they've got plenty of daylight. It's probably going to start at like 7 o'clock at night.
Okay. So I probably only have time to research like 1 or 2 things thoroughly, maybe.
Well, keep in mind your past research was trying to take notes out of a thing. If you are able to like get some material to take with you, that could be one thing, or you sort of have conversations with somebody. So you sort of ask, Rylar and the abbot, if there is somebody who is studied in the undead, particularly the aspect of fighting against them, and they direct you. Let me grab a
Because
couple
what I'm
names.
thinking, like, there's a couple things at this point. Like, there's that. I might want to check out like specifically anything else on like the Gulthias seed
Mhm.
thing, and then maybe I think at this point I'm still don't quite understand the whole like druidic thing, and I'm curious how they interact and stuff, and like how to
Mhm.
start
Mhm.
looking at that. So maybe I'd want to look on, because I haven't looked into that at all. So maybe some sort of like on the go thing, like something I could take with me for that.
Mhm. Okay.
And then maybe more in-depth stuff on undead, and then if they just have like anything on Gulthias, then that's good because I'm not really expecting. That seems pretty rare.
Okay. So here's what happens. That uh, you're given a couple names, and you go and you start talking to them, and one of that they make a rather odd pair, because one of them is a female gnome who's like not even 3 feet tall, and the other one is a half orc who's almost 8 feet tall, and they're the best of buds. And they are so excited that rarely does any of the other Obari actually take interest in their particular research, and it's sort of into the let's see, that one of them is druidic practices, and then the other is sort of study of the undead. And while they know each other, that they don't often cross paths, but they do know where those 2 areas of knowledge intersect is at the Gulthias tree. And they, not actively, but in years past, they did sort of collaborate and try and research some of that. So what happens is they go and they each get several books, and then they're trying to like figure out how to best get the information and like, feed it to you. And then overhearing the conversation, a third one joins who is an arcane practicer. And what that one does is cast Fabricate, and fabricates a book that is a compendium of the different volumes that these other two were trying to like take notes from. So essentially,
That's a
just
fancy spell.
yeah. Fabricate, don't mess with nothing. So essentially, conjured a copy of all
All
those
the
different
relevant parts.
books. So it's a hefty tome.
Yeah.
So it's big and bulky, and you got like several Encyclopedia Britannicas smushed together that will be a bit cumbersome, but you now have plenty of research to do in your spare time. And they sort of give you the cliff notes that the Gulthias tree is this known legend, very, very likely to be a true myth as opposed to just stories passed down based off of a real, actual item, given that plant blights do exist, and it's believed that all plant blights are descended through some mechanism or another from the influence of the Gulthias tree. And that you sort of, they go over some of the information. You already know that it was that originally there was a very powerful vampire that was killed by a wooden stake through the heart, and that stake absorbed some of the vampire's evil essence, and then as years went by, that stake started to grow and bloom again, but this time as a twisted, gnarled, nasty tree that was secreted away by a malcontented druid and kept underground, where it grew without use of sunlight.
Wow, well done. Well done, Steak.
Yeah, well done, Stick. And became a very nasty influence, creating all sorts of and corrupting the world above it. And so eventually that was dealt with. They're not sure whether it was an army or a particular set of heroes. That particular piece of the myth they're not they don't have possession of. But the Gulthias tree was destroyed, but it is thought that there are pieces of it or seeds that were preserved before it was destroyed. As well as
Seeds.
as well as that you learn that as far as undead are concerned, that there's sort of two fundamental types of undead. There are constructed undead, which are essentially entities that are reanimated by an arcane practicer, so such as skeletons or zombies and things like that.
Frankenstein.
And then so there's constructed undead, and then there are also spontaneous undead, where those are sort of things that are not created, but they happen. That's stuff like ghosts and banshees and wights and revenants, things that when the transition from life to death is corrupted through some means, that spontaneously these undead are generated, and technically vampires would fall under that as well. That even though they can quote unquote create more vampires, it's not through constructed arcane means. It's through passing the
And like
curse.
a weird natural, not
Yes.
sort of natural in a not natural
Yeah.
way.
And they
Yeah.
actually get into the semantic range, that the pedantics of how some people wanted to call them natural undead versus spontaneous undead, but considering that all undeath is sort of an unnatural state of life, that wasn't preferred, and so eventually that the nomenclature was turned to spontaneous, but it is sort of a more natural.
I'm super into that section and become very opinionated very quickly. Very, very enraptured by all of it. I'm super into that book so far.
Mhm.
Did you just assume his spontaneity?
So essentially, you've got a big old tome to go through, and they've sort of highlighted some of the sections that are of particular interest. But you've got plenty of research to fill your time with.
Wait.
I'd
You're
like to
gonna want
kinda...
to mark the book as probably 15 pounds in your inventory.
All right.
All right, go ahead, Cathod.
I'd like to kind of go, like, seeing him kind of get interested in that. I kind of wanted to see if they had any more information on like the crystals, or if there's any reports of like other situations where people might have discovered one of these crystals or anything
Okay.
in the past. Like if they have any like material to read on it or anything like that.
Oh, absolutely. All right, so let me open the relevant Word document. Actually, well, technically Google document because it's free.
Free.
Okay, so what you'll learn is that these particular crystals are a more pure manifestation of the same sort of thing as the arcane wells. And that the mythology goes is that these pieces are shards of a creative power that was wielded in time beyond recollection by the gods that shaped the multiverse, and that these are shards of the piece, or shards of that tool that the gods used to create the multiverse, and that there was a war that was waged between the good deities and the evil deities over control of this, and eventually that war led to it being broken, and pieces of that what was known as to some people as the catalyst, or the god killer, the stone of the abyss, the hell rock, the sapphire of wrath, or the foundation of or what was it? It was the pillar of creation is also called. That when it shattered, pieces of it were embedded into some of the universes, some of the worlds, and that the energy that flows out of them is that very power of creation, just raw energy and magic itself. So that's sort of some of the legend of these crystals is sort of connected to those arcane wells, and those arcane wells are a piece of that energy, but rather than being in an individual unit like that, it's embedded into a large volume, and that's what the arcane wells were.
Wow.
So
Okay.
essentially, the arcane wells and the crystals are the same thing in different forms and different concentrations.
Dang.
And so at least that's as much as you can get out of it now. As far as
Is it reference more like mythology,
it's
or
definitely mythological. It's sort of written in like epic poems and such. So
Okay.
some of the
there's
conclusions.
not like really much evidence that they have now, or like are there like areas that are referred to like with actual crystals on display, or anything like this?
Not currently known in the modern world. That
Okay.
that to actually that they it is known that they exist simply because of the arcane well in Averin. But as far as public knowledge of crystals on display, no, if anybody had one and had any idea what it was, they would sort of secret it away and use it discreetly rather than openly.
Okay.
And so, for example, for you, that your family didn't necessarily know what it was, but you knew that it augmented your family's natural arcane abilities. And so it had been passed down from generation to generation.
Okay.
And as well as another thing that you'll learn is that some of them, some of the crystals, as well as some of the wells, are more attuned to specific types and schools or effects of magic than necessarily others. They sort of provide the means for all things, but can sort of more readily be directed in different directions. So it's sort of like they operate on different frequencies, and you can sort of conclude that the frequency that yours is happens to sort of resonate with cold and ice
Cold,
magic.
Yeah.
Which is why your family particularly had possession of it and use of it.
Yeah, and that would explain us compared to the others.
Mhm.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
So, and then, oh goodness, I wish Andrea were here. Uh, yep. So that sort of, you guys are able to meander throughout uh, the monastery. Thonar and Bonner, you very quickly find out the Obari that specialize in the practice of brewing, and
Wonderful.
Yeah, of course.
that they have honed this not just to like an art form, but like a fine craft. Of they can brew like this is their life's work in figuring out exactly how to brew different things, and so they've got like samples of all sorts of different things for you guys to try, and they're glad to share their research. Again, they don't get many visitors, and then because everybody has some sort of specialty around here, they sort of get tired of everybody trying to yap about what their research has yielded, and so there's a little bit sort of a running joke of everybody has everything to say but nobody wants to listen, so they're glad to sort of share with outsiders, and you guys have a grand old time. And hearing that you are going to be undergoing the trial of might and the trial of mind, that they give you one bottle each. That after you're done getting uproariously drunk, you drink that and you'll be completely sober.
Ooh.
So we'll save this for after
I
the
need
challenge.
They said, well, we knowing that what you're going through, we brewed it just now, and it's only potent for the next maybe 6 hours. So you try and save it beyond that, it's not going to help you out.
Well, no, I meant after we're done
Oh,
with the challenge.
after you're done with the challenge. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Who are these monks that can go to a challenge sober?
Is
They-
there are
They've
there...
been inside the monastery for a long time, so they're not used to having that perspective.
I'm gonna kind of say like it is a test of mind as well as body.
Yeah.
and
Exactly. That's why I gotta lubricate.
so you gotta get drunk.
Gotta lubricate the mind.
Mm-hmm.
Did there happen to be any monks that specialize in the art of bodybuilding?
Oh, absolutely, because that again, this monastery is dedicated to both the development of the mind and body, and there are some that are sort of focused on the research and craft of specifically tuning and fine tuning the body.
Is there anyone with tattoos of fists all over their body?
Yeah.
Roll me an investigation check.
I was typing roll. It's been a-
So-
okay.
I think this might be the first roll of the night
It is.
here at
That's
the
why
end. This
I was about to type /roll investigation, but
Big green like fists.
hold on. You know what? I thought I had inspiration.
Let me give you some context too. That you came up with this idea after you tried all the microbreweries. So unless you're gonna pop the thing,
I'm going for a crit here, bro. No, I'm just.
yeah. So you try you ask among the monks. You sort of mention Ryalar's tattoos and ask if anybody has any sort of fist or punching tattoos like that. And there's just resounding answers of no, but
And I've got my moon glasses on. I'm walking around with my
Yeah,
moon glasses on.
because the light's a little bright.
Yeah.
Yep. That you just get resounding no, nobody here has that. But somewhere deep in the back of your mind, in your heart, there's got to be somebody here. And that's the feeling that you're left with. There's got to be somebody that they're holding out the very most powerful of all of their secrets.
I'll come
It's
back to
me.
this later.
So, Thonar, did you want to pursue the sort of bodybuilding any further?
Yeah, I want to see if there's anybody that can teach me some new workouts. Maybe I'll start working out more than 5 times a day.
That when you're consulting with them, and they actually sort of admire the work you've done. That they say that we understand that you don't have every day to sort of day in day out dedicate to this practice, but you've done very well for sort of the rough and tumble approach that you take, and but what they offer is sometimes it's not necessarily the exercise you do, but it's the fuel you provide your body to build itself back up. And so they actually prescribe this diet that's very high in protein. And so, like, the whole thing of like eating raw eggs, but you need to do it with but it's like it's like 2 parts eggs for 1 part milk, as well as a dash of herbs to sort of help the body get its vitamins and such, and that will help your body build the muscle so much better, and da 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 da. So you sort of get some tips of how if you're trying to do a bit better. And so if you're able to put that into practice, we'll see where that goes.
This is 2 parts.
2 parts egg,
1 part milk, or
1
for
part
every
milk, and I don't know what herb they
A dash of
prescribe.
herb.
Let's call it basil, just because, and a dash of basil, and that will
Hidden secret tech.
that will provide the sufficient fuel to sort of optimally build muscle. So if you have that
Cool.
once in the morning and once in the evening,
Gotta get me some chickens.
We have that.
you
pot.
have a pot
Oh
that
my
summons
God.
chickens once per day.
I was just looking at that before we were playing.
Wait, what?
I was like, oh yeah, we have that chicken pot. That's all
Uh,
right.
that among the potion vendor wasn't just a potion vendor, he had also sort of many discount magic items, and one of them was a chicken pot that once per day you can pull out a live chicken from it.
I missed that one. That's
Oh my
hilarious.
god. I forgot about that.
Yep.
Yeah, we got some pretty awesome stuff from that guy.
Dude, that sounds amazing.
Yep.
Uh,
I think about like 90% of that was created by yours truly. Well, no, I can't take all that credit because there was a few things that was I found other people had made. Like I think the chicken pot somebody else had suggested, but it was I nerfed it because it was just an action to pull out a live chicken any and all times you wanted. I'm like,
That would
No
be,
way I'm
that
letting
would
that.
get way out of hand.
you just sit there for an
100
hour,
chickens.
chicken.
That's
No way,
chicken
that's
every
happening.
6
We
seconds.
don't need to be adventurous.
Yes.
We can just sell chickens for us. We
then,
beat
then,
the game.
Then the inflation of the chicken market goes so sky high that
it would not worth
No,
anything
we don't.
anymore.
You're
kill
thinking
all
too
other
small.
chicken- we
You're
kill
thinking too
all
small.
other
You don't
chickens.
kill the chick. You don't sell the chickens. We open up. We start Chick-fil-A.
I think
Chick-fil-A.
the better quest would be to ignore all the main quests, try to find every chicken alive and kill it, and then you have a chicken monopoly. So that's how we spend the rest of the
Ooh,
campaign.
yeah,
Just
chicken
go
extinction.
around town looking for
Wait,
chickens.
but wait,
and then
if
we
we
control the world.
The problem is though, where do the chickens come from? Because if the chickens that we're pulling out of the pot
Elemental
are
plane
just
of
like,
chickens.
if they're not coming from the elemental plane, if they're just like some random chicken, like some
the
farmer's
elemental
like
plane of
sitting there,
chickens.
some
Yeah.
farmer's sitting there and his chicken just disappears.
Just gone.
Then we gotta figure that out before we kill all
pretty
the
sure
chickens.
there's
Is
a
it
chicken
summoning
plane.
chickens or creating chickens? That's what you got to figure it out.
Exactly.
Oh man.
It's actually like from the
Meaning of
abyss.
the-
There's just
meaning
like
of
one
life.
one of the levels is just like crammed with chickens.
Oh,
some big inferno like appears, wondering why we're taking all those chickens.
yeah. Oh goodness. Yeah, it's like I'm like going on to Reddit onto the DM subreddit. It's like I don't know how to deal with this. That I keep throwing all these awesome plot hooks at my players about this glory and honor and magic items, but all they want to do is build a fried chicken empire.
Oh,
That'd be hilarious.
It's because it hasn't been done before.
What we can do is someday if we ever finish this campaign, what we can do is go back, reroll new characters, and play in parallel. But it's the same characters. The world is still shaped by the way this party shapes it, but it's the same characters trying to build a fried chicken empire
Fried
during
chicken.
all of that.
That sounds like a great mission.
Hey, did you hear about Fandolin? They opened a new
Chick-fil-A.
forge there. Oh, great! If that city's booming, it's going to be a great new industry to introduce our market to. Though here's the difficulty:
We get
distribution.
there. Yeah, we get there and we run into problems, and so then we end up getting mixed in with the wrong crowd, and we join this new group called the Red Brands. But then later,
No,
just,
no,
but
it
then
could
we get
be-
killed by this group of adventurers.
Yeah.
We could do
Uh,
that before if we ever have to do anything. It could be the people before the pot got sold to us, and then how they got it, everything they did, and then how they lost it, and then it got picked up by us.
Nice. Yeah.
The epic
Oh,
story
goodness.
of the chicken
Yeah.
bot.
And that's why I made the decision it's once per day. Uh,
God,
So-
now we're stuck with boring
Yeah.
regular adventures.
yeah.
Has anybody ever seen Marco Polo? Like the show?
Yeah, on Netflix.
Yeah, they have that one part where like he lights all the horses on fire and sends them into the city
Mhm.
to like burn the
Mhm.
city. It'd be like us, the chicken that are chicken
Yeah.
strategy.
That's
Just
what I
chop
was
all
saying.
their heads off, light them all on fire,
Yeah.
and watch them just run into
Yeah.
the city.
The
I-
difficulty is here is that, as I said, distribution. Because you only have the one pot that makes the chickens. So all of
Ah.
your chickens are created in the same place. But if you're trying to build an empire of having your franchise in all these different places, you've got to transport the chickens to those places.
That's true.
True.
Yeah.
We'd figure it out.
We know some people that are
When
good
you're
at
the only one who
transportation.
has chickens in the world, people will be willing to
Yeah.
Mhm.
work for you.
If you build it, they will come.
I also want to
Yeah.
see. Goodness, what was Yeah, Fabricate's a 4th level spell. They got a good old wizard working for him.
I need to learn that.
We didn't invent the chicken sandwich. We just invented all the chickens.
That'd be great. We could come up with new recipes, mark up the prices.
Okay. So, at least for Fabricate, creatures or magic items can't be created or transmuted by the spell. You also can't use it to create items that ordinarily require a high degree of craftsmanship, such as jewelry, weapons, glass, or armor, unless you have proficiency with the type of artisan's tools used to craft such objects. So, the book you got, that was a librarian wizard who is specializing
He
in
knows what he's doing.
bookmaking. Yeah, I mean that they do. It's that they try to be
It's like his,
self-sufficient.
it's like his
and-
thing.
Yeah, and they had many rooms filled floor to ceiling with shelves of books. So he must have been getting busy. That's his
They got a
specialty.
butcher, a baker, and a magic bookmaker.
Yeah.
Mhm. So I think you guys gained some downtime in the monastery, knowing that your trial of might and trial of mind are prepared for the evening. And we can go ahead and end there. And let's see here. I just want to know how close people are to level.
Always
6.
off, I think.
Yeah, I was 23.
You were 23 off. Let's see. Bonner's
I'm still like
about
900.
900 off.
I'm about
Uh,
9,000 away from my next thing. So,
Yeah, yeah.
9,000
anything
will be
you
good.
Where are you at, Cathod?
Yeah, 9,000 sounds about right.
Cathod, how are you? That can't be
I-
right.
Yeah, I'm
Level
always off.
2?
I missed like 1 or 2 weeks or something.
Yeah, but it shouldn't be that drastic, because that's woohoo.
That's 5,400.
Yeah.
You
'cause-
did miss a couple in a row. Like for a while, it was just a
Mhm.
few of us. But
I assume you did. You add anything from last week to my XP? I don't remember what I had.
I
previously.
did add a little bit.
Okay.
You got half for that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Cathod, being about like 4,000 behind Bonnar doesn't make sense.
What does
didn't miss
what does
that
Andriel
much.
have?
Yeah, let me check Salazar. He's at about 10,000. So, alright, so what we're gonna do is we'll say you guys get 1,000 experience for this session.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
Ah baby, leveling up. Here I go.
Got
Mhm.
there.
That just means the trial of might and mind can be that much more difficult for the couple that dings.
Yeah.
Alright,
Yeah.
so make sure to mark that down. And then we'll give Andriel the opportunity to sort of do some retcon roleplay, and if he does well with that, he'll get the 1,000 too.
Cool.
Cool. I feel like I did have inspiration, but it got. I can't remember if I must have used it.
Ah,
Because I know you gave it to me when I repaid the people back for when I sold that armor.
yeah.
And you know what? Maybe it didn't. Maybe my sheet didn't update because the armor was still listed under my armor too.
Okay,
And I
that
still
could
had
happen.
some of the items in the inventory. I
second.
had to go back and take those out.
Yeah, roll 20 does some odd things. Let's see. Daniel
You
has
know,
been
I'll
the
go
sort of
back and
most
look at the.
consistent attender, so I think was it Elryan? It says that you have 13,000.
Oh, I have it written down.
Okay, you've got it written.
After
Yeah,
that, I have like 15,000.
yeah, because
Okay.
I know you hit 6, which technically you could change your character profile thing.
When was the last time we
Oh, right.
met? 111?
It would have been 2 weeks
Yes.
ago, so on 11, yeah.
Right. Hold on, my thing is actually is incorrect.
There, yeah, I updated my
Oh,
thing.
Okay.
Which I'm gonna have to make a new sheet.
Oh,
'Cause
wait, yeah,
right before we started, I
14977, no, that's
spilled my
correct.
drink all over this.
Oh no.
I've also been keeping track on the side because one time I came in and my experience was gone.
Yeah, and roll 20 is kind of funky at times. So
Yeah, I'd only noticed that once. I remember they did like an update or something, and it like took away my last like one session's XP, but I added it back.
That's a good
Yeah.
idea. I'm gonna.
I almost wish I was keeping track of it manually as well, like on a
Yeah.
I'm gonna
File.
start.
Yeah, I think I might sort of take some time and sort of take a snapshot of where everything's
I'm
at.
just taking a picture of it with my phone.
Just do like
The
make an Excel
ultimate
doc or
lazy way.
something.
Yeah. That'd be nice because then I could just like enter plus whatever.
Do we get it's a one hit die to add to our health when we level?
When you level, yep, 1 hit die, and if you roll a 1, you can re-roll it.
You had your Constitution mod too, right?
Yeah, plus well if rolling the hit die in the button actually
Oh,
adds
the
in your
button
con
does.
automatically.
Yeah,
So yeah, you add 13 hit points there.
Okay.
What does level
Uh,
6 get me? for
I believe fighter gets ability score increase.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I think I only got like 8.
Because yeah, he
Oh,
rolled.
so I could take a feat.
You could take a feat. Because I mean, you got
I'm
that.
torn right now between that because I've been looking at either want. There's a couple feats I want, but then I also have been toying with the idea of multi-classing into barbarian.
Hmm. And so you'd sort of
Basically for the if I would only do 2 levels to get rage, unarmored defense, and then reckless attack are the main things
Mhm.
that
You have that sweet armor though.
exactly because the armor I have at will I can summon it or dismiss it to a plane. So if I had unarmored defense, even if I
Oh,
dismiss
okay.
it, I'll
Good
still
both ways.
yeah.
Because let's see, if you were to
I'm gonna take the time between sessions to make the decision.
oh, absolutely.
Because there's other options. Because I do also the great weapon fighting feat is something that I've been waiting for quite some time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There's too many options.
Because let's see. Go ahead.
What's it? The proficiency bonus? What is that automatically added within here? What is
Yes.
that?
Yes.
Okay.
As long as you go to the class tab and make sure that you increase that appropriately, it will
Okay.
automatically calculate the proficiency bonus. Which I think once you hit 5, it's +3, and I don't know when it goes up next again.
Okay.
But I think it goes all the way up to like +6 once you reach level 20.
Yeah, it's +6 at 17.
Okay, yeah,
At least
it
for-
goes up
yeah.
at 5, and then again at 9, 13, and 17. Yep. So, and that automatically gets calculated, add into your to hit and into your spell DC and stuff like that. So it's fun times.
Rylar definitely seems to have been inspired from like Aang.
bit- well,
Year.
that whole subclass of Way of the Four Elements is a monk path that's very much inspired by Avatar.
Yeah.
So.
And like the lightning bolt, the big blast of air, like air boom or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Like it's pretty cool.
Yeah. So as written in the original player's handbook, the Way of the Four Elements is kind of the weakest version of monk.
Yeah.
But Andriel is using a homebrew remaster that sort of puts it much more on par, a bit higher.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, because the cost of key to fuel the original one was very steep, as in comparison to the others, and so they reduced the cost of key and gave you some more options and stuff. So it's better. So that's why he's able to also do the burning hands area of effect,
flame
which
blast thing.
between the two of you can wipe out quite a few things.
Yeah, really
Is-
deal some damage.
Yeah, because oftentimes that's one of the things that monks have difficulty with is crowds, hordes of enemies, as opposed to very powerful individuals. And that Andriel has not used this ability yet, but all monks get a level 5 stunning strike, which can utterly decimate a single opponent, because essentially when you hit them, you can spend a key point to force them to have to make a Constitution saving throw. If they fail that Constitution saving throw, they are stunned until the end of your next turn.
Whoa.
Stunned means they cannot take actions or reactions or move.
Crazy.
And I think dexterity saving throws are made at disadvantage or automatically failed or something like that. And so
How
essentially,
many times can they do that? Like he could just keep chaining that?
he can chain stun. Yes.
That's crazy.
Which is why as a DM you never leave a bad guy alone, regardless of how powerful they are. So, all right, gents. That as always, it is great fun. So we've got 3 level 6s now. I might have to rebalance some things that are going to happen for that threshold. But I'm looking forward to the Trial of the Might and Trial of Mind.
That's
Could be
gonna
fun.
Yeah.
Gonna be exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Telling me no,
But my body.
but my
Yeah.
body's telling me yes.
All right.
All right,
Enough of that.
everyone. It's been excellent fun,
Indeed.
and we'll meet
Good night,
again
guys.
in February on the 8th.
Bump.
Sounds like
Okay.
a plan.
All
Wait,
right.
is that next week?